Hey there. I'm genuinely thankful you're here, watching this. And if you decide to subscribe, it'd mean the world. Really. Now, let's dive in. The bubbles still danced in the champagne. Laughter still bounced off the polished walls when it hit Noah Reed. This night would brand itself in his memory forever. At the far end of the candlelit table, dressed in crystal and silver, he watched his wife, Vanessa, performing elegance like a seasoned actress. Her fingers played with the stem of her wine glass, her red dress flowing like liquid fire. She was pristine, impeccably styled. The diamonds in her ears sparked every time she turned her head. And that smile, measured, gleaming, too perfect to be heartfelt. It was the smile she wore when she wanted to impress, not when she meant it. She lifted her glass and, in a voice sweet enough to rot, offered a toast. To my father, and to all the good men out there, even the ones who try their best but somehow still fall short, emotionally or in other ways. A beat. Then a soft, airy chuckle. Cheers to you, Noah. Tension rippled through the room. Her sister nearly choked on her drink. Their father's face turned rigid. A few guests gave forced, awkward laughs, late and unsure. Noah didn't flinch. He stayed still, didn't utter a word. But the sting of her remark echoed louder than the clink of cutlery and crystal. It hadn't been whispered behind closed doors. She'd chosen a spotlight, wrapped her cruelty in charm, and served it in front of everyone. He made no scene, no reply. Didn't even glance her way. Instead, he folded his napkin with quiet precision, rose to his feet, and stepped out of the glittering Camelot room. A heavy hush trailed him like a shadow. Outside, on the cold stone steps, a voice stopped him. Noah. He turned. Lucas, Vanessa's younger brother, stood there, pale, jaw clenched, hands buried deep in his coat like he was gripping something fragile. She went too far tonight, Lucas said, then hesitated. And there's more. I wasn't sure I should say anything, but now. Noah waited. I saw her, Lucas continued, last Friday, with Caleb, at the Langston. They were holding hands, laughing. She kissed him before they walked in. No build-up, no cushioning, just a gut punch of truth. Noah didn't blink. His face gave nothing away, as though the fury had already come and gone, leaving only steel behind. Do you have proof? He asked. Lucas nodded and reached for his phone like it weighed 1,000 pounds. Yeah, pictures. I didn't know what to do with them, but now I do. Noah didn't ask to see them. Not yet. His gaze shifted down the driveway where his car sat idle. Don't check into hotels under their real names. He turned to face her. She slept without care, untouched by shame, as if she hadn't just humiliated him in front of their friends. As if nothing had shifted, she expected him to react, explode, break. But she never understood him. Quietly, Noah slipped from the bed, bare feet soundless on the floor. He crossed the hallway to his office. The door clicked shut behind him. On the shelf sat a notebook, unopened since their wedding year. He dusted it off. The scent of aging paper brought back the version of him who still dreamed freely. Inside were furniture sketches from a time when his business was just an idea. Phantom doctors, all of it documented. By Saturday night, the archive was complete. A folder named Private. Read this first. Inside, photos, invoices, captured messages, and a single note. Not a threat. A sentence. You shrink me with a smile. I'll leave you without raising my voice. Vanessa had no idea the foundation beneath her was already gone. No suitcases, no slammed doors, no shouting match. Just a husband who smiled a little more each day. This wasn't giving up. It was the quiet beginning of his perfect escape. For the first time in what felt like forever, Noah drank his coffee without that familiar tightness in his chest. He wasn't happy. Not calm. Just Away, Lucas had quietly captured it at a charity gala, where both Vanessa and Caleb had been in attendance. Her voice was clear, unmistakable. He doesn't even argue anymore. It's dull. I could vanish for a week, and all he'd ask is if I fed the plants. The betrayal wasn't new, but the scorn? That was corrosive. Still, Noah didn't rage. He constructed. He calculated. The framework of his departure was nearly complete. He called Eileen Jarvis, his lawyer, again. This time he gave her the go-ahead. Begin drafting the papers. Quietly, precisely. No courtroom drama, no publicity. A clean break. Enough funds for Vanessa to maintain appearances, but not nearly what she was counting on. Yet there was one last step. He reserved a table at La Bravura, the same upscale restaurant where Vanessa had raised a toast just a week before, graceful and poised as ever. It was also the venue for her parents' upcoming anniversary, an event carefully curated, a room filled with family, associates, and dignitaries, her social tapestry. Vanessa arrived in an elegant midnight blue dress, exuding charm. She kissed her sister's cheek, exchanged air kisses with the mayor's wife. Even leaned toward Noah, brushing his cheek with her lips. "Let's just keep things light tonight, okay?" she whispered. He met her eyes, his voice even. "Absolutely." Earlier that day, he had slipped a sealed envelope into her clutch, tucked so discreetly that she wouldn't notice it until much later. It was weighty. Inside, photos, logs, and a single handwritten note. "The curtain falls here. Read in solitude." Under the soft glow of chandeliers, Vanessa dazzled, every smile choreographed, every laugh tailored to her audience. Noah watched from across the table, still, unreadable. She had no idea how precarious her footing had become. She lifted her glass in honor of her parents' lasting marriage, even gesturing toward Noah with a tender smile, calling him her steady compass. Lucas sat directly across from Noah. He didn't move, didn't blink, just held his gaze. It was enough. The applause still rang out, but it wouldn't last. Tomorrow, when Vanessa discovered what lay in wait, she'd realize the audience had already slipped out quietly. No alarm stirred the silence on Sunday morning. Strips of early sunlight fell across the curtains as Vanessa stretched luxuriously, regal in the comfort of delusion. Her hand moved toward the other side of the bed, cold, empty. Her brow creased. She listened. No running shower, no rustling drawers, no scent of fresh coffee. The quiet wasn't peaceful. It was hollow. She padded to the kitchen, silk robe trailing behind her, the residue of wine and celebration. "Now you get to live with both." Noah. Her breath collapsed in her chest, forcing the air out in a broken gasp. The envelope slipped from her hands, the papers sliding against the floor like whispered judgment. She shook, not from fury, but something heavier, something permanent. She reached for her phone. No messages, no missed calls, no alerts from their joint accounts. She checked again. His name, gone. She called, voicemail, again and again. On the fourth try, she left a message. "Noah? What is this? What is this? You don't do this. You leave. You go quiet. You don't..." Her voice fractured. "Call me, please. We can fix this." Silence. Her fifth message turned sharp. Her sixth crumbled. By the ninth, she was curled on the cold tile floor, arms wrapped tight around her knees, sobs shaking her. The envelope lay open beside her, its contents exposed like a wound. She didn't sleep. She paced. She drank. She rehearsed versions of the truth, half-lies, deflections. But morning brought only more silence, and that told her everything. He was done. She drove to her parents' house without warning, pulse thudding like a verdict. Tires crackled over gravel. She didn't knock. She walked inside and froze. There they were, her parents, her sister, all seated in the living room, quiet. On the coffee table, the envelope, its twin. Her mother held a wad of tissues in one trembling hand. Her father's eyes were rimmed red, not from grief, but something far more distant. Her sister threw her a look, a twisted blend of accusation and humiliation etched across her face. "You really believed nothing could touch you, didn't you?" she murmured. Vanessa turned toward the hallway just as Lucas emerged. He didn't look at her, didn't even shift. "Where is he?" she asked, voice thin and splintered like fractured ice. Lucas leaned back, his posture relaxed but unreadable, arms folded tight. "He's gone. You made that possible." "I didn't stop him," she said, the words hanging like frost in the air. "Just like you didn't stop me." She stepped closer, her body taut with restrained fury. "Lucas, they saw everything. You let them watch." He remained still. "They needed the truth," he said flatly. "You never earned their admiration." Her mouth opened, but whatever she wanted to say dissolved before it reached her tongue. Behind her, her father rose, slow, deliberate. His expression was devoid of anger, just a glacial resolve. "You broke your word," he said, each word like a hammer on glass, "and wore your disgrace like it was some kind of medal." His voice wasn't raised, but it struck harder than if he'd shouted. Lucas walked forward and gently closed. Inside, divorce documents, complete. Along with a notarized letter from Noah, waiving most claims to their shared assets, except for what he'd already taken, without a word. A cashier's check accompanied it. The figure startled her, not as much as she expected, yet more than she had truly earned. Then came the final cut. On the back of the financial statement, a handwritten note. One line. "I left you with more than you earned and less than you expected." No name, no goodbye, just a single period, as if the story had already ended. Across town, in a dimly lit restaurant tucked away from the noise, Noah sat at a booth beside his lawyer and across from Lucas. No words of celebration, no smiles, just loose ends being tied. He signed several pages, handed off a sealed envelope, and nodded at the server without saying much else. Langford, his attorney, reviewed the contents and gave a simple nod. "All final transfers are in place." Noah set his cup down, half finished. "Good." Lucas studied him. "You sure this is all it takes?" A pause. Then Noah replied, "She's already lost. She just doesn't know it yet." And Noah hadn't simply left. He had carved himself out of her life with surgical precision, erased his shadow, left her with nothing but the echo of her own decisions. She didn't cry. There was no one left to perform for, just herself. And the silence. A silence she once mistook for surrender. Now she understood. It had been the warning, the final breath before collapse. And that's where their story ended.